Aloha, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Moana Nui podcast. For those of you who are tuning in for the first time, aloha, welcome, e komo mai. My name is Moana, and I am the founder and host of the Moana Nui podcast. I am also a children's book author for the Adventures of Nakoa and Nohea series, and the publisher and editor for the Wildcard Chronicles comic book series, and of course, the host for the show and a champion for BIPOC and Indigenous storytelling and uplifting the voices of our communities. Tonight, I am joined by my guest co host because Dana is taking a much needed break. But I have my partner in crime here, who is also the illustrator on my children's book, Ryan Robinson. So I'll let him introduce himself and welcome you guys to the show.
Moana, I'm proud to be here, girl, for the second week in a row. It's going to be a good show tonight. Really excited about our guests tonight. Should be a great time. Looking really forward to talking about this show. Also, I'm Ryan, the originator coined by J-Man. I'm a fine artist, illustrator. I am the illustrator of The Adventures of Nicole Noia, upcoming book, Journey to Aikua. Really intense, really fun, a lot of work, but it's great. But yeah, looking forward to tonight's show. It's going to be a good time.
So, for those of you who are joining us, I see you guys are already coming in. Feel free to let us know you're in the chat. And if you have questions for the guests that we have here tonight, please feel free to ask, drop them in the comments, give us a share, help us get this out so that more people can be aware of this series. It's a Hawaiian comedy series that takes place in on Maui, upcountry Makawao, and I'm really excited to share it. Oh my gosh, my cousin's on from Maui. Aloha Kaluna, how's it? Welcome to the show. Mahalo for tuning in. So I think we're just gonna jump on in because I know we got a lot to talk about tonight, and I want to give the most time that we have on the show. So I'll give you guys a brief intro. The name of the series, if you guys haven't seen it already, is Moku Moku. It is a new Hawaiian comedy series. It's a slice of life TV comedy following the lives of three close friends living in upcountry Maui, Kimo, Leilani, and Pili. These three face the internal struggles of being a local, a Kanaka, and a modern American all at the same time. That's very relatable for this Kanaka. This is a stranger than fiction ensemble of hilarious characters that introduce us to Hawaii life and people that the world generally doesn't get to see. True facts there. And so I'm excited to have two of the three characters. Unfortunately, Bronson couldn't join us tonight, but aloha, Bronson, wherever you at, we definitely got to catch you on a round two. But we're going to start off with comedian Chino LaForge. He is playing the part of Pili, who is the heart of the group and the childlike spirit within all of us. He has been voted as best stand-up comic 3 years in a row and opened for many of the top comics in the nation. And this particular role is tailor-made for his talents, and so we're really excited to see what he brings to the show. We also have acclaimed stage actress Patty Lee joining us tonight, and she is playing Leilani, the independent hustler, and she's the glue of this trio. She's a Maui-based actress that has been featured in Magnum PI and the Lifetime thriller The Deadly Yoga Retreat. I haven't seen that one yet. She was also one of the talents hired for HBO's miniseries The White Lotus that shot on Maui during the pandemic, and she's the lead vocal actress of the new animated film Ocean Black. And then, last but not least, we also have the series writer here with us. Kawika Hoke is the founder of Manabakao Productions. He's been involved in the Hawaii and LA filmmaking scene for over 8 years. Prior to that, he spent 6 years with Disney Entertainment. His talents have been put to use as a producer, production coordinator, and writer. And he has actively created a unique opportunity for Hawaii talent and filmmakers to create authentic stories about Hawaiians by those who actually live in the islands. And we all know just how important authentic storytelling is. Us as Kanaka and as people of color, and being able to relate to the stories that we see on the big screen. So we're really excited to have them on the show. Hey, Kyron. And he says, whoa, impressive resume. I know, right? This is what I love, like showing the talent of the Hawaiian community because we are all over the place and we are up in here. Welcome, everybody. Aloha.
How's it?
Awesome.
Thanks for having
Well,
us.
we're really so excited to have you guys here. I can't wait for this show. I know you guys are working on the pilot series, but as we get started, one of the questions that we like to start our show off with is the Pico. And I don't have to explain to you guys what the Pico is, but I will for those who are joining us. Pico is your origin story, your roots. Tell us a little bit about yourself and something special about where you're from. So we'll start with Kawika.
How's it, everyone? So, my grandparents are from Maui. My grandfather's from Moku. My grandmother's from Napili, and they got stationed out on the mainland. And Crenshaw's are in the house. How's it, Crenshaw's? So I really spent most of my life abroad, but what made it so easy to stay connected was the fact that my grandparents always ran with a pack. There was always a hui going around in the Marine Corps and in the Navy, and we all just stayed in the same neighborhoods. And we really called North San Diego our home for most of our lives until I decided to get itchy feet and run away again. But yeah, so I spent all my formative life lost on the mainland, and it's really influenced a lot of like how the show came about, because it's always just been a process of how do you get back to Maui and how do you pick up where your family left off when they had to leave. And this is just like my little song to my grandparents.
Yeah, I love that because I feel a lot of what inspires me too is tied back to the family and connecting back to our ancestors and bringing their lives back to the forefront. So love it. Chino.
My name's Chino LaForge. I was not born on Maui, but raised out here. I graduated from Maui High. Go Sabres. My dad was born and raised on Oahu. He was kicked out of Kamehameha schools, so you know I'm Hawaiian. That's how you know. I was raised with my Polynesian ancestry and culture in a place that was not Hawaii. So I was outcasted a little bit in my growing just because of my language being slightly different and some of my traditions being different. But when I moved to Maui as a young teenager, I was able to really feel at home. So I've been working hard to not only be deeper connected to my community, but also to enrich my community as much as possible through starting the Maui stand-up comedy scene and giving other local performers a chance to really get out there and show their stuff.
That's awesome. I love when people not just share their own talents, but create spaces for others to express themselves too. And I think that's really important for our community. So mahalo for everything that you're doing with that, and would love to maybe bring some of your comedians onto the show. Let you guys do some stand up for us or something.
Careful what you wish for.
Laughter is so needed in life.
We are dangerously available.
That's awesome. Patty, the Mana Wahine, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sure, yeah. So I'm originally from Massachusetts, actually. My dad and my mom met in Korea. They split when I was really young. I was mostly raised by my dad's family, which is my Holly side of my family, mostly by my aunt and uncle. And kind of part of my story is that where I grew up, I didn't really look like anybody who was there. Everybody was white, and I was the one Asian person. And it was interesting too, because I studied theater my whole entire life, but I'd go up for parts and I was always meeting this wall where they were trying to cast me as an Asian person, but I didn't have any knowledge to harken back to. And I wasn't getting cast as a white person. I just felt in this really weird limbo. And I spent a summer out here just living on a hui and living off the land, and just definitely felt like I just found my people, like I found a place and a sort of a belonging. And I moved out here about 14 years ago. And when I moved out here, I thought I was giving up acting forever for good. I was like, oh, well, if I can do some theater here and there on the community level, I'll be happy. And I don't know, it just finds you. If you're supposed to be doing something, it finds you. So I did theater for years, and then film just came my way. And then I was fortunate enough to meet the folks at Manavakau and Kawika and just get to chatting with them about changing the industry, making things more accessible, making more local options available and utilizing the talent that's here. And luckily I got to be a part of this process as well. So that's my story.
That's awesome. One of the common themes that I'm getting from all three of you, and probably from Bronson if he was here too, is this kind of like sense of creating belonging and finding those spaces where you feel included. And especially for Native Hawaiians who, whether it's yourself or some part of your family who lives inside the islands and then has been forced to move away for whatever reason, whether it be financial reasons, military service, whatever those things are, being caught between two worlds and those kind of themes. Is that something that you guys see or are trying to bring out in this Mokumoku series?
Yeah, well, we've been relegated to this like known version of what's Hawaii. So like people don't realize how much we have the same problems as everyone else on the mainland. But then there's some unique things that just go unnoticed. I would say we're in an uncharted territory because there's like telling some stories I feel very much are a first time thing for us because I think there are some things that are unique to Hawaiian culture just as much as I'm seeing it coming out from like when we saw like New Zealand bloom. We saw things that were unique to Maui and how they saw life and how they experienced it. And there's just this tie of what it is when we see everybody else as a visitor, as an American, and then that duality space that we're stuck in as part of another kingdom that is just landed on top of.
What are your thoughts on that, Patty?
Yeah, I think that above all else, it's a comedy, it's a sitcom. So it's very lightly touched upon, but it's the reality of the space that the show exists in. It exists within all of these tensions that are present every single day. And with all of these ignorances and naivetes and just things that people don't realize the ways in which they're stepping on the toes of people who came before them or were here. So I think it's an opportunity for sure to showcase some of that without hammering it over the head. Like, this is the lesson you're supposed to learn. It's more, hey, here's a little like insight into where we're coming from. And Kawika said, we're all similar, even though we're so different. We have very different cultures and backgrounds. Like a lot of us, we just want the same things in life, which is, like you said, to find that place where we belong and we can contribute and be like a helpful part of the society.
Yeah, definitely.
And to elaborate in that microcosm, so to speak, I think it also really displays the confusion of culture that happens, especially now since we're moving into this modernized view of what Hawaiian culture and community is. I think it really shows the important truth that like not everyone is a dancer or a farmer or a paniolo or a surfer. There's way more archetypes of human beings that live in Hawaii, but specifically in Makawao, I think it really shows the cultural diversity that still interplays with each other. Us being like the lost locals, you see us interacting in our pilot episode with a group of paniolos, but then you understand people really aren't that different. And especially living in a very small area of Maui, we all grew up with each other. So even if you are different, you already know how they're different. So it speaks to like the love that exists in our small community, where the patience and understanding of difference that can also happen.
Yeah. And I'm sorry to also add to that. I feel like there's always this conversation that I've had with so many different people over the course of time while living here about being enough, being Hawaiian enough, being local enough, being this enough, that enough. And I think it's an interesting conversation. If nothing else, just to spark it, just to have people talking about it is worthwhile.
Yeah, those are all great things to bring up. But I think like making it as a comedy, I feel like that kind of helps the content to be more consumable because it's not, like you said, not trying to slap it over your head, but like I find like I don't know if it's a coping mechanism, but sometimes it's like make fun of yourself before other people can make fun of you, right?
Well, I think
full of sugar.
The funny part is we really don't do any punching down. It's more self-realization than that. But to the point of like how lightly it's dangled in front of everyone when we talk about it, we leave like maybe 5% room for seriousness. And I don't really see the show ever going past like the 25% barrier where like Reservation Dogs would be like, this is life. Sometimes
Right.
Moku Moku is more Life King. Suck, bro, but it's still cherry right about here.
Yeah, Reservation Dogs thick in that area.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. So, as probably most of us here know, in Hawaii, families is a big part of our life. And many of us live in multi generational families and in multi generational homes to survive. And in the pilot episode, I think you guys depict this as part of the opening in the story. And Kimo is like trying to help hold on to his family home. And I think I saw pictures, which I'll try to bring up if I can multitask here. But like cleaning out trying to like finding things in a garage, and a little bit of a struggle in Hawaii to one, have so many people in a house, but then two, to manage everybody's stuff. So with that said, tell us a little bit about the pilot episode and how you guys are introducing this into the series. And as you're talking, I'll try to bring up some of the behind the scenes.
The pilot episode revolves around cleaning the garage. It was a multi-generational house to a degree. It's now just Kimo and his mom in the house. We haven't really discussed any of the status of the house, and I don't know how deep we'll get into that. Really, the first chapter of the story is more about identity and self-discovery. And so while they got to clean out the garage because Uncle's got to be able to park his car in there. And we don't know how fresh Auntie and Uncle are, but at the same time, like Kimo's wondering, like, is this my dad? Is this no? Like, life is confusing. But in the midst of all of that, he finds a lot of weird things in the garage, and he starts to wonder where he comes from. And he finds some Paniolo gear, and so he starts assuming via his own connected dots that maybe, just maybe, he comes from Paniolo and he should try to be one.
I don't know if I'm allowed to say this. It's a little bit of a giveaway, but which he does poorly.
There we go, right there. Yep.
I'm also not going to justify the moo in that photo.
Never shall you ever.
Draw your own conclusions.
Yeah, you'll find out. And I'm also not going to justify the fact that those guys are all a very wide stance because I'm a super short person. Oh wait, I think I just.
I'm super tall too, so we had to find a happy medium of our cowboy gait there.
Yeah.
But I feel like in that dynamic, specifically in cleaning the garage, I feel like Peely's involvement is mainly to try to find the easiest way to do this / fastest way to get out of the work. So if that helps at all, hopefully no spoilers are given. I'm trying to find the fastest way to wrap it up so we can go back to playing Podigi horseshoes. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm just along for the ride. Okay, you guys, whatever. I'll help you, but I don't know what you're doing.
Oh, multiple cameras, yes. Let's see. Let's pull up this other one.
Yes, we did shoot with 2 cameras. We shot with 2 Sony FX9s that were brought to us from Philadelphia because, like, just finding one is an Easter egg hunt in itself. So thank you to Get Kinetic for providing those. And then we actually had a double lens kit from Sony. Sony sponsored all of our lenses, so we were very blessed to have that outreach from Sony.
Nice.
Real nice.
Mahalo, Sony.
Yeah, we had a lot of the cast and crew got to see the dailies of the end of shoot of every day. You go over the dailies, and man, those shots, those angles, and those lenses look amazing. The people involved really created an amazing look for this that I think a lot of us are really excited to see, because as cast and crew, we only get to see as much as we're tied to. So I think a lot of us are really curious to
Austin.
see. Yeah, Austin.
And
He's the man.
Those
That's
killed it. Absolutely
yes.
killed it.
Yes,
Especially
Austin and Derek. Yes. Austin's a director of photography, newly minted. He has been killing it for, oh my God, since he was in high school, man.
Yeah,
He's been coming up the ranks for a long time. So he's been doing a lot of work for CrossFit, like MTV. He goes everywhere. And then so we were just blessed to be able to, like, this is his first foray into being in charge, and we just appreciate him so much.
Another Maui High graduate. Go Sabres.
Yes.
Yeah,
So-
and you would never know that it was his first time doing this exact job because he just
well, he's clutch. He's been a cam operator for almost a decade now. And then before that, he's hit every job you need to hit to become DP. And he's done it at such a good rate at his age too. That's like being in your prime pitching in the major leagues right now. So, and he's ready for it. He's so ready for it. From the looks of all the dailies, like that was, man, I'm proud to have him as my director of photography.
Same.
And Jonathan. He's the other half of my writing brain.
Yeah.
So he brings it out. I tend to just get scattered in like extended universes for a while. And so there's a lot of cases where I give him a report. And I'm like, this is what people are going to do for you. Like I write the thick part of the show Bible, and then he turns it into people talking. So like people can tell the difference between my script and his script is usually like mine has like tons of descriptions and maybe like some forewords to it. And then like tons of space for words to happen, but never any words until Jonathan comes in. So Patty's like, why does this say woof and bark? Because I haven't written the funny part yet.
I really thought for a minute, I was like, okay, I guess we're woofing and barking for this whole thing.
I too thought you were running an animal bit. I was like, okay.
I thought it was how people say woof.
Oh, that's amazing. Let's see. I'll show this one. I think that's hilarious.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So this leads into a lot to know more about the pilot. So after Kimo thinks he's Paniolo, and then he's hanging out at Hanzawa's store, and he runs into real Paniolo. And so they make fun of him, and he makes fun back. And so he thinks he's going into a showdown, and then it ends up turning into Porgy Horseshoes. A game of Porgy Horseshoes against each other for the honor of their family, because it turns out that Paniolo gear might actually belong to that Paniolo's grandfather.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
Beast.
Funny thing about that shot right there too is that some of those are actors, but some of those are real Paniolo.
Yeah,
yeah, especially the one with the rope. What was awesome was in between takes, he was, if you look in the very back right corner, there's a little just nailing that thing in the side takes. I was like, hey, we should be filming that. That's pretty cool.
Yep. Yeah, my girlfriend was like, oh, that's my brother and his girlfriend. And they're like total Paniolos upcountry. So pretty cool.
I love that extra authenticity in there too. Yeah, that's awesome. Okay, let's see.
Yeah, and getting like the other community members involved too, I think is really cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. Oh yeah, here, I think I have the showdown scene. Let me see.
Also, shout out to my buddy Andy that commented. What's up, Andy?
Oh, this is actually part of the dream sequence.
Mm-hmm.
So we're actually going to see a lot of these in the show, so it's not too much of a spoiler, but Kimo falls asleep a lot in front of the TV, and so that's his identity tends to be tied more to pop culture than his own Hawaiian identity at times, and that's a lot of the struggle in the first chapter is what is given to you by colonialism and consumerism and what's actually at the heart. And then where's that give and take through gentrification that you just have to accept that's a part of you. So a lot of what Kimo goes through in his dreams is like a big discussion I had with myself on the mainland as a kid, because I joked about on the first day of shooting, I speak better Klingon than I speak Olelo. And that's the struggle is real for being Hawaiian on the mainland. And then even so now, back in the islands, it's like you'll have a 1 in 10 chance of running into a Kanaka these days. We're all displaced everywhere else in the world. So identity crisis is really here on the streets now just as much as it is on the mainland.
Yeah, and I think there are a lot of us who still have that struggle, like not even just as a kid, like even now, especially the ones who grew up away and didn't have those initial connections. But even the ones like me, right? Like I didn't go to Kamehameha. I wasn't taught Olelo. I didn't learn it until I went to college and took my own intentionally learned it. But I did it because I wanted to talk to my tutu, right? She was still fluent. She grew up in the lo'i, still very much in the traditional way, but she could speak both English and Hawaiian. But I always wanted to speak to her in Hawaiian, but couldn't because it's our parents' generation. Like it was essentially, they were like dealing with the trauma of it being outlawed essentially. And so there's no way they were going to teach it to their kids. So it's just interesting. Oh, Pawahi, aloha sis. She said, oh, the amount of stuff I can relate to. Pawahi is from Hawaii too. Let's see. Rusty has a question. As y'all are filming, are people asking questions about the show?
All the time. Like right now, like I gotta say the biggest conversation in Hawaii, like the entire Lahui worldwide, we're now approaching the Hawaiianness, how much conversation. It's like that the blood quantum thing rears its ugly head. So it's there's we got the nearly fulls, and then we got like the next to no halves, and then right in the middle you have everybody who just wants to fit in. So I think that's a big thing, whether you look Hawaiian, but then like you more Hawaiian inside than most people know. And then it's like people like see like me and my cousin next to each other and they're like, oh, he's the milkman's baby or something like that. And he's more Hawaiian than I am. But like the big question that comes out during filming is, are they really using real Canucks? And then and that brings up a lot of other questions about who's local in the show versus who's Kanaka in the show and who's equally represented. So case in point, we've got Chino and Bronson are Hawaiian boys. And then you got Bronson from Oahu and Chino growing up Maui. And then we have Patty, who is, a welcome addition to the community. And then that even comes up in conversation too. Are we making sure that everybody is actually represented? So then it's like Leilani is a character from outside of the system that helps open that up to discuss, oh, well, this is what happens when you move here. And this is also like the give and take of like how you become a part of this community and then you do fit in. That's been the big question, is really just the authenticity factor. Like I feel that it was about time because Polynesia is getting big enough. We were such a small population. And then now that we're like back into the millions now, we're finally facing that modern social struggle, just how Black is Black, how Latin is Latin. And now it's how Hawaiian is Hawaiian, and the Puerto Ricans are having the same thing too right now. So I think it's probably the bigger part of the questions about the show. The second question everybody asks is, hey, bro, can I get on the show? Because there's been so much support from everyone. That's the best part, is there's your occasional people that got to check and vet it, because it's been a struggle to get real representation for Hawaiian stories. Like everybody's 50-50 when you talk about Lilo and Stitch. It's, oh, well, that's a Hawaiian story, but it didn't have a lot of Hawaiian people in it. Lilo is cute. And then you get to Moana, and it's intense, but then people don't understand the full conversation of Proto-Polynesia and then where that ties in and unifies us with the rest of the Pacific. Yes. So then the American machine just sees it as, oh, you're all like Moana now. So I think it's great that we're now developing into a space that like people want to know, is it vetted, verified, and real? And then they'll watch it. And we're happy to say that, yes. Seal of approval. It's got the kind seal of approval.
One question I've been getting a lot as Peely is that Peely, of course, is a bit of an uncommon name for a male. And I've had a few people like, oh, Peely, yeah? What, are you Mahu in the show? And I go, why? You like one kiss? So.
Yeah, I've been getting a lot of questions, mostly about people saying like, how can I help? How can I help? How can I be involved? What can I do for you guys? Which I think is like just wild to think. People are just saying, listen, I'll volunteer. I'll just do it for free. Just let me help and be involved. I'm like, oh, okay, well, that's cool that we're getting that community support.
Yeah, I think that's one of the aspects that I miss from leaving home, is that the community is like that regardless of your ethnicity. It's just one of the special things about Hawaii, that like we're here in this remote part of the Pacific, like everybody just chips in, and the community spirit is really strong, and it's really hard to explain that to people who have not lived there and experienced the true off-resort experience of Hawaii. And I think it's one of the things that I definitely took for granted and did not truly appreciate until moving away. And I'm like, man, why is it so hard to get help over here? Like people, first question they ask, like, how much is it paying? And I'm like, can I just get some help? Like, I'm not asking you for like your whole entire life. So when I feel it again, I'm like, oh, I miss that so much.
I feel like Kawika and I had a really detailed conversation about this very topic, about just the difference in mentality and culture of specifically Hawaii being very community focused. And like what, at least when I was growing up in the mainland, people being very individual, like individual rights, individual freedoms, individual, like it's all about me and my success and where I go versus what can I do? How can I help? How can we all work together to make something, you know?
Yeah, because I think that's one of the downsides of being in a capitalistic society, right? Everybody's focused on the money because everybody's in a struggle financially. But by the same token, like if we had a little bit of that shared perspective on bringing value without having to bring money, like the community as a whole would be so much better because there's so many skill sets out here. And if we can
way more wealthy.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah. So
yeah, and everybody's contributions to the whole is a contribution to your individual life too. So it's just learning that.
Yeah.
Straightforward.
I had a question.
Yeah.
I know you said this was a love letter to like your grandparents. What other influences were presented in the show and what brought you to the show? And also with your characters and how you developed your characters as well when you were writing them? And was there improv on set as well? I'm looking at you, Chino.
I can speak on the improv part. Kawika did an amazing job being very specific in writing the characters. And I know we spoke of tailor-made characters, but really, I think we really luckily just casted it really well, where the parallels between myself and Peely, I can speak for, are extremely vast and also at the same time different, where it's causing me to work. But as far as the improv goes, it's really fun because when we started, we were very true to script in the first day. And then it only took a few shots for us to really warm up and just start playing around. And then one of us took a chance, and then the other one felt safe. So then the other one started taking chances. And next, like, maybe a lot of the verbal dialogue wasn't so much improv, but there's a lot of physical gags and a lot of just ways that we deliver that were definitely created within our building our friendship with each other, which I think really read as honest, because you can read something the way it's written, or you can read something the way it would be spoken between people. And I think that's really the route that we went with it. And from what I've seen, from what we've gathered and been able to see on our side, I think it really makes a huge difference.
Excellent.
For sure.
Couldn't agree more. I feel like there's such, like what Chino was saying, that Kawika and Jonathan, they had these like very specific characters, but they also were like, okay, now that I see who you are and what you're about, here's how you can play on this. Here's how you can play on this. Do you have any insight, any input on this? And it was very much collaborative. And yeah, especially the first couple days, I was in just a couple of scenes, whereas Chino and Bronson were in a bunch of them. So I got to watch a lot of what they were doing. And it was so cool to watch the development, because just like he said, it was like you started out with just, here's what I'm supposed to do. Here are my lines. Here's my delivery. And then, oh, what if we do this? What if we play with it this way? A lot of physical comedy too, which I was very entertained by. As just a person in the background.
Well, to answer the other side of your question, outside of my grandparents, there's a lot that I drew from growing up in a pack of cousins. So you'll see that a lot, as the trio is really 17 grandkids that I smashed into 3 people. So there's times that I look at Chino and go, you're just like my cousin Phil right now, bro. Like, this is it. Like the second he chases, Peely chases Chemo into the carport, it takes me back to that first time I got to clean my Aunt Charlene's garage or clean my mom's garage. And then there's just like a lot of that comes from just hijinks, all the crazy, stupid stuff you do as a kid, get lost in the woods, all that stranger than fiction, Stand By Me type of stuff. That's what's in there. And then a lot of what fills the gaps as far as like the comedy really comes from my relationship with Jonathan, because there's a point where my history on the islands pauses because my grandparents died. And then there was a point where after I got sucked into the industry on the mainland, I just looked at it and I went, I'm not going back anytime soon. I'm Ronin without a master. I have no hui. I have no home. So I'm just going to get lost and go. And so like in coming back and all the other projects I worked on previously to get here along the way, running into Jonathan was a much more helpful thing to me than most people realize, because he really fits into that space. If like he spent all the time that I've never had here, and then he appreciated it as someone who moved here, became a part of the community. Like to me, cosmically, that felt like a good cosmic trade. And then for us to become friends and then build on that and build that, because that's really what Hawaii has become. It's always tried to be a fusion-based community. You look at what Hawaii was before statehood. We were one of the only places in a monarchy in the Pacific that there wasn't slavery and that anybody could have a job or own land. Like options were plenty. And so like I look at how that brought him to me in that sense, and then look at how I got to make my way back. And really the funnier parts in the story is just me going, oh, it's still like that. Because I feel that there's a lot of pause button out here that just happens. And it's just, bro, I know you've been gone for 20 years, but we're still a one-horse town and we haven't forgotten. But not in a bad sense. Because the city is growing and sprawling and it is what it is. But there's sometimes that I definitely feel like yes, we are drift compatible, Jonathan. Absolutely. Gypsy Danger all the way. Compatible. Yes. No, that's how that's everybody. Our secret code name on set is Gypsy Danger. And that's really like the development of the story really comes from the team, because we wouldn't have what we have and how it grows. Because I subscribe to the very like Roddenberry notion of team writing. Like just get lost in your thoughts together and then go back to square one and start all over again and then fill it in some more. And so it really started with me and Jonathan lost in a virtual whiteboard, just nailing down thoughts until we had about a 3-season Bible ready for just by the beats. We could tell you where these characters are going to go. I very much subscribe to the notion of kill your characters first, because I don't believe in like 30 seasons of Big Bang Theory. So, and no unnecessary spinoffs either. But so a lot of that went out into the front with Jonathan after the idea was pitched around. It started off as we could do a Hawaiian Letterkenny, and then it turned into, well, no, but we could be more serious. But then we could be more slice of life instead of impersonal, because I love Letterkenny for what it is, but there's to a degree like anybody can insert themselves into it. And I feel that Moku Moku and Polynesian content, specifically our best stories right now, are the ones where we make you feel like there's an inside joke, because there is. And then you just like, you have to learn what the joke is if you really want to be a part of the club. And there's not like a secret knock. It's just come inside, please figure out the joke so you can laugh with us. And I'm definitely seeing that a lot of the other good Polynesian content, whether it's like Hunt for the Wilder People, or we just recently watched Baron Toa, which that was great. And then there's that new movie from Tonga coming out, Red, White, and Brass, about going to the Rugby International Cup. Like they just dropped a trailer. It's beautiful. And it's probably like it's definitely in the range of what I wish like we can come to, because it touches on everything. It lets you know how people are, and then it makes you want to discover that about them, so that way you can be in on their joke. So
I love it. You just dropped so many gems on like things that I have to go follow now.
yes. No, definitely start with Baron Toa. It's on Hulu. It's hilarious. Oh my God. Like the story, the fight scenes, it's got this total Lion King meets Friday, but funny than Lion King feel. Yeah, like just the way, because it's this whole like a day actually it's more like a week on the block type of thing, and everybody lives in the cul-de-sac, and dude's trying to come home to sell his house, but uncle's no, we should stay, and here's why. But like totally worth a check.
Oh my gosh, the struggle.
No, and that's the thing is like we like more stories like that, and that's where I intend to go with Moku Moku in writing out the rest of the show with Jonathan, is that we want to go into places less traveled, We want to be able to know all the inside jokes. And I think that's what sits at the heart of like Hollywood is overplayed these days. It's not just the IP bubble. We've decided that there is a finite number of stories to be told. There's 9 billion people on this planet, and you're telling me we all have the same boring story?
Right.
I consider not. No.
Absolutely. I totally agree. And I thank you for all of you for those being able to explore those and advocating for it, because we definitely need more of it. And I know it's out there. We just need to bring it to the forefront. And I'm so excited right now. I'm like, ooh, new show. I needed one too. And I was like, oh man. Every time I see any kind of Polynesian content, I'm like, where is it? What is it? I don't care. Is it good or bad? Let me see for myself.
Yeah, because there ain't much of us out there, so you got to watch it. And then we also have to remember that The Rock accounts for 46% of our programming. True statistic.
I don't know about all his programming is that good, my friend.
I finally watched Central Intelligence the other day,
Oh,
and
God.
I was like, you know what? A lot of people were making fun of him for playing The Rock and everything, but after watching Central Intelligence, I was like, you know what? That's okay, Uncle. You can stay right there, Uncle. It's okay.
Yeah, The Rock is 46%, and somehow Rob Schneider is 22%.
Yeah.
I know, right?
Yeah, oh man,
So true.
dude.
So true.
It's funny that you mentioned The Rock too, because there are moments when I'm watching everybody perform and Bronson does this like eyebrow thing and he just looks just like The Rock. I'm like, what? He's the next generation.
For sure. Oh man. Let's see. You got any other questions, Ryan? I want to make sure you have time to ask too.
I was only wondering because I wanted to see what influences. It seems like a very fun show, very family based, which is nice to see because there's not enough of that right now, to be honest. And it's just filled with culture, love, and appreciation for who you are as an individual. So that's exciting upon itself. So, you know, we need more content, more shows, more direction in that area. And there's not enough. Everybody's on let's go on what's hot. Like right now, since The Last of Us is so successful, everybody's buying up video game properties right now. So for me, it's just, we need the roots. We need to get back to the roots of what quality entertainment is. Everything's not always going to be good. So
yeah, and that's the thing is like you gotta take a chance at telling a different story to see if people are accepting of it. And that's definitely like where we want to go with this pilot. We were blessed enough to run into our executive producers who have just been champions for us to make sure that this pilot takes off. But if there's anything that like I really want to make sure every step of the way, like the people know it's for them and they can be a part of the process. We're going to try to have a test feedback screening soon, just because it's going to be more than a year until it actually hits a screen somewhere, like Hulu, if you're listening. No, I'm just kidding. But we're at a point that we can shed a light on something because we have the space to do it. That influences wise, I could say look styles. Like we like certain looks and stuff. We know what's hot, like when we put a camera on something. So I definitely like in the sense of that way. I know where Austin and my brain met in the middle was like, we want this to look like as clean as like Atlanta or Reservation Dogs. But then we want to get lost in what's more like a primetime sitcom. So we've got a lens of one type, so it's reality, but then our scripting type is more TGIF. And because it's, especially coming out of the pandemic, I got some great advice from a good friend a while back on a couple movies ago. And he's just like, it's really because of the world that we've been in right now. It's on our shoulders as creators to create a miracle season. Just like looking at all the things that you feel blessed by, whether it's just the simpleness of day to day or a community coming together or just finding yourself.
Yeah, and we need to laugh. We need to laugh.
Yes, absolutely. Oh my God. It's been a dumpster fire for a while, guys.
Yeah, and I would say that this production, even though we've obviously only done one episode at this point, but it's been such a blessing to all of us in different ways. And being on set, it was I've worked on a lot of different productions over the years. I've never seen this sort of like equality, I guess is the right word. Everybody's like contributing the same amount, working the same amount. Everybody is, let me hold this for you. Let me do this for you. Let me go grab you a water. And it's really different. I've never seen where the director, literally, it was the first night after filming, and Jonathan was like, oh yeah, can I grab you guys a beer? And I was just thinking, see, this is really cool that we're just in this sort of family sort of environment and nobody's getting taken advantage of or having to work 10 times harder than the next person or that kind of thing. Yeah, it's cool. It's cool.
Yeah,
it's unusual.
There was definitely some moments where I would have questions about like how to deliver a line or if I could change something or if this would feel more natural. And normally the response is, shut up and read it how it's written, you meat puppet. But, but it was a very different experience. We were like, well, how do you think it would be said? And then we'd have an exchange about it. Like, all right, well, let's try it both ways, and then we'll figure it out. We'll see which one really works better. And it really was a communal experience of shooting where it was all hands on deck at all times. Everybody had equal say. And it was really something where I could tell the crew that joined us from Philadelphia, even they were blown away with how everything was going. We're like, wow, this is a real family vibe you guys got.
Right.
Yeah. And we're like,
really
everything. And also people were very generous with their knowledge as well. There were a lot of conversations about the specific dialect of Makuau Pidgin specifically versus Kahului, or you know what I mean? It's just different areas. And people were just like, here, the difference is they would say it like this, and this is how it would go. And we would use these words and not those words. And everyone was receptive. Okay, cool. Let's change this. Let's make it right. So it's unusual.
Yeah, that's awesome. Because people who like are actually from there, they're gonna be like, I don't know if that's legit, guys.
Yeah.
Oh, we already got that. That was to go back to what other questions have been asked. That was another one because like someone watched the Hawaii News Now segment they did on us, and they were like, "Oh, Bronson got that Sammy Davis eye, but those pigeon accents, I don't know if they're real." like, no, bro.
By the way, that interview was us as individual people, not as our characters as well.
Right.
Yeah.
That's worth mentioning. There is a thing called acting.
Yeah, I thought the video I shot for that was used for fundraising. So I was like, aloha, how are you? It was my asking for money voice and not necessarily my
everyday voice.
I call pina colada Hawaiian. You know,
Yeah.
Oh my god.
tropical enough to be exotic, but white enough to be sold.
That is hilarious. I'm gonna make a shirt, the pina colada pigeon.
Fantastic.
Oh my gosh, this is amazing. I love it. I love that to see that the family vibe is permeating in the production too, because I think that really is truly something special. I see it on the teams that I lead in my job too. And people are like, what is going on with it? Is this like, this is too good to be true? Like they're waiting for the other shoe to drop. Like, where's the dude that's gonna like rip my head? And I'm like, what is that? What for? Nobody needs to be dealing with that. There's problems, let's fix it, but let's do our best work and help each other like through this. So I love seeing that.
Yes,
If
absolutely.
nothing else, it's just showing that it can be done.
Yes.
Yeah. I think it's like quite the opposite feeling. Instead of waiting for that person to come kick our butts, I think we're all waiting for us to get together again. Like, I miss you guys. I haven't seen you guys this week. I miss you guys. I can't wait to be back on set so we can do more.
We did not have a cranky
And
sound guy, by the
our
way.
sound guy was not cranky at all.
Steven Sullivan, one of the best, one of the bestie best.
He was
Well, actually, and then the funnier part about Uncle Steve is that he was actually a transplant like 30 years ago from Philadelphia. And without even knowing it, the guys who we made friends with from Philadelphia knew him from 30 years ago. So it was just like a super small world reconnect. But no, to answer your question, we did not have a cranky sound guy. I have worked with many cranky sound guys, and Uncle Steve was farthest from crankiest, and he even hosted the like secret, just like the core team rap party. And we all had Pauhana at his place in Haiku. It was legit in this little, he lives on a plumeria farm. It's pretty cool.
It is. I think it almost scratched my truck on the way in though.
I I do know that Stephen had to really get in there when setting up my microphone under my shirt. So he has every right to be cranky if he was.
Oh my gosh, I can't even tell you how many mic packs were just saturated in sweat. Like gross, but it's true.
It's Hawaii is hot. That's awesome. Alrighty. Well, this has been such a great interview, and we could talk about this for a very long time. So definitely wish you guys all of the luck. So how can, like, for people who want to support you between now and when it ultimately goes on the show, what are some of the things and ways that they can do to help you guys amplify the signal and help get more support from a resource perspective and just like potential fans, influencers, all of that stuff?
Biggest thing right now is checking us out. All social media, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube at 808 Mokumoku. We're also at 808mokumoku.com. We have a production newsletter that's going to be regularly coming out of there. Just got the site populated. We're going to be having a test feedback screening in the next couple of weeks on Maui. So for anybody watching that's in the islands or wants to be in the islands anytime soon, we're going to do 2 small screenings in an afternoon, just try to get everybody's notes, get final approval before we be like, okay, we're going to try to put them on TV. No complaints, guys. No complaints. You had your chance. You can't fight this now. So there's that. And then we're hoping to take it to festival and just try to get some attention. Hopefully we can catch attention of a streamer. We do have a default path of, if all else fails, public access, but we have some good conversations going on in the background right now. Can't give too much on potentiality for where we could be streaming, but we're still scouting all options because we want the best that we can get to share it with everyone. But the eventuality is, whether we win or bust next January, the show will be coming out because we will have shot everything by then. Our executive producers are doing their best to make it possible to get us through these first 6 episodes. And we're hoping that we can be on air soon.
That's awesome. Well, we really look forward to it. As I mentioned, if we can help in any way to have you guys back on and talk about different things.
Absolutely. We'll send you guys a screener copy.
Yeah, we would love to. We would love to. Alrighty. Well, thank you guys so much for being with us. For everybody who tuned in, I think this is the most live viewers we had in a long time. So thank you all for joining us. If you are not yet following us here on the Moana Nui podcast and the Agents of Geekdom, please do that. We are on both YouTube and Twitch. And something that I always forget to remind people is that if you have an Amazon subscription, you actually have a free Twitch subscribe thing that you can do. So feel free to follow Agents of Geekdom. We have a show on our network every single day covering the range of pop culture. And so please give us a chance at that. And we would definitely appreciate the support, because the more followers we get there, the more we can amplify this content. And so it is definitely a community effort here on the Agents of Geekdom. A lot of independent creatives pulling our resources together to just have a bigger impact on the community for all of our content. So mahalo nui. Thank you, Ryan, for being here tonight with me as my co-host. Did you say something?
Oh, I said no problem.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, okay. Sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off. Next week, let's see what's going on next week. I think next week we have our monthly sports series, and we might have a Kickstarter highlight with Greg Elise doing his next Isnana comic. We're going to talk about his Kickstarter and how you all can support him in getting his next project funded. But between now and then, everybody take care. Have a great rest of the week and a wonderful weekend. Enjoy your time off. To the cast and crew, thank you so much. Continue to have fun. Can't wait to see everything that you guys create. And aloha to Bronson. Sorry we missed you, but next round, we're going to make you sing.
Good, put them to work.
He won't mind.
Alrighty, guys. Take care. Malama pono. Ahui ho.
So many stories left to tell, even if we have to ourselves. If this the land of the free, it was a freedom then. When they annexed Hawaii and called it Cedar Lands, without any type of payment and no signing off, called themselves the Republic in 1894. 1.2 million acres overtaken from the native Hawaiians. When they resisted, the West retaliated in violence and erasure. The Hawaiian language is banned as part of colonialism's plan to expand, yeah. Stuck between a rock and a hard place. Multiple bombings of Kaho'olawe as a part of their ongoing war with Asia. Used it as a place for target practice. No consent or compensation. Colonizers call for annexation. No work out for all the locals. School will never let you know. So many stories left to tell, even if we have to ourselves. Can keep history on the shelf. If we won't tell it, we will. Too many stories left to tell, even if we have to ourselves. Can keep history on the shelf. If we won't tell it, we will. So if we put Hawaii in a perspective, well, Black and Asian history is interconnected. Considering the fight with the Pacific, then of course versus Asia, they was treated as a middleman for war, but didn't let the Western colorism run its course, cause dark skin was a sign of dignity to core. The land was taken in the name of capitalism, when prior to it was an actual kingdom. Clap back at the system. Stuck between a rock and a hard place. Multiple bombings of Kaho'olawe as a part of their ongoing war with Asia. Used it as a place for target practice. No consent or compensation. Colonizers call for annexation. No work out for all the locals. School will never let you know. So many stories left to tell, even if we have to ourselves. Can keep history on the shelf. If we won't tell it, we will. Too many stories left to tell, even if we have to ourselves. Can keep history on the shelf. If we won't tell it, we will. So many stories left to tell, even if we have to ourselves. Can keep history on the shelf. If we won't tell it, we will. Too many stories left to tell, even if we have to ourselves. Can keep history on the shelf. If we won't tell it, we will.